So it is under these conditions, with this kind of spiritual realization already. But now she sat by sleeping Satyavan, awake within, and enormous night surrounded her with the unknowable so vast. See, that's the whole beauty of it. In spite of that experience and all that, she is alert to what she has to do. She is with a sleeping Satyavan. Yes, there is a work to do here. There is a work to do here. She is alert to that. Surrounded her with the unknowable Savas. She is sitting there with Satyavan, and what is going to happen? Only unknowable. A voice began to speak from her own heart that was not hers, yet mastered thought and sense. Mastered her thought and her sense. That voice took possession of her thought and sense. And as it spoke, all changed within her and without. Savitri has lent herself to that voice, and she is allowing her to express itself to her. There was no more a universe built by mind, a star. Yeah. There was the unreal, there the unreal could not find a place. The sense of unreality was slain. There was all conscious, made of the infinite. All had a substance of eternity. This is a very powerful thing. Substance of eternity. Everything, what she sees here, had the contents of eternity. It was all love and the one beloved's arms. It was sight and thought in one all-seeing mind. It was joy of being on the peaks of God. On the peaks of God. She passed beyond time into eternity, slipped out of space and became the infinite. Her being rose into unreachable heights and found no end of its journey in the self. There is no limit itself, it is infinite. Naturally, she finds no end to that. It plunged into the unfathomable deep and found no end to the silent mystery. She was all vastness and one measureless point. Her spirit saw the world as living God. So that is the experience now she has. Yes, this whole world, it is God who is living and breathing here, existing here. It saw the one and knew that all was He. Where is it that He is not there? In stone, in birds, in animals, in all the creatures, everywhere. She knew Him and the absolute self-space, one with the self and ground of all things here, in which the world wanders seeking for the truth, guarded behind his face of ignorance. She followed him to the march of endless time. She was the single self of all these selves. She was in them and they were all in her. That is a great experience. She was in them. And they were all in her. So it's a double experience. She is present everywhere and they are present in her. This first was an immense identity in which her own identity was lost. The cosmos flowered in her. She was its bed. So she is the soil now in which the garden is blooming. She was time and the dreams of God in time. She was space and the wideness of His days. From this, she rose where time and space were not. The subconscious was her native air. Infinity was her movement's natural space. Eternity looked out from her on time. It is through her now eternity is seeing all the moments of time. Now this is the great siddhi of Savitri's yoga. This is what you would call the fruit, the siddhi of the yoga. Phalashruti of her yogic tapasya, the reward of yoga. From this she rose where time and space are not. The subconscious was her native air. Infinity was her movement's natural space. Eternity looked out from her on time. So, space and time acquire value now because of this realization. It is space and time which lend themselves now to infinity and eternity. Which is important. Savitri is the instrument. It is through her now things had to happen in space and time. So this is the kind of background you have from the book of yoga. And now from here we go rather to the book of death. Savitri with that experience now is coming to the concrete realities of this world. She has to face death. She has to meet death. She has to meet death through the death of Satyavan.